Hospital Radio, live from the atrium. Call 676 777.
Yeah, that's right. It's City Hospital Radio here. You listen to Kev, with you till around about 12 o'clock. And I don't know if you remember, but we've been talking a little bit about King Richard III, and the return of his remains, really. There's a bit of an argument going on, and a lot of people are saying, obviously, that we should actually go for his wishes, apart from what everybody else says. And, of course, his wishes are to be returned back to York. Now, on the phone, I've got King Arthur Pendragon from Salisbury in Wiltshire, who's been kind of the leader of the Loyal Arthurian Warband, and he's been working on the return of the Guardians to Stonehenge. Are you there, Arthur?
Yes, I certainly am.
How are you doing this morning? Welcome to City Hospital Radio.
Oh, thank you very much, and thanks for inviting me on. I'm excellent this morning.
Brilliant, fantastic. Will you be going down to Stonehenge at all today?
I will. If I don't get a chance to go today, I'll be there tomorrow. I'm there most days collecting signatures, campaigning for the return of, as you rightly said, the people we refer to as the Guardians. You see, they were put there thousands of years ago, and if nothing else, I mean, you know, the archaeologists are saying that they're basically the founding fathers of this nation. They were the priest caste, or they were a royal line. Sort of 5,000 years ago, they were buried in a circle around Stonehenge. And what we're talking about here is cremated human remains, shards of burnt bone.
Mm.
And they were taken out, firstly, excavated between 1919 and 1926. But, of course, the archaeologists couldn't do anything with them. And they put them back. Unfortunately, they mixed them all together and put them back in one of the pits, which is known as Aubrey Hole 7. And it was that pit that they re-exhumed in 2008. Their reasoning was that forensics had moved on, and they may be able to carbon date burnt bone now. But, of course, they didn't. And they had them for 2 years, applied for an extension of a further 5 so someone could do a PhD on them. And at that stage, I took it for a judicial review to the Royal Courts of Justice and said, look, we don't mind you testing them. We're not against science, but, you know, we'd like them to be returned at the end of it. And they said, basically, it doesn't work that way. Once they get them, they keep them. They want to put them in a museum. And what we want to do is have them returned, because at the end of the day, we believe, you know, that those who lay to rest stay to rest. They were there for 5,000 years. The archaeologists said, well, you don't know they wanted to be there, to which I replied, well, no, and you don't know that your grandmother wants to be in that churchyard, but you do know that her loved ones wanted her there and they put her there, and it's the same in this case. So what we're doing at Stonehenge is gathering signatures, and on the petition we've put religion to show it's not just a Druid issue, and it's not just a pagan issue, it's just about common decency. And we've got the A to Z of religions represented. We've got everyone from Anglican to Zoroastrian, because at the end of the day it's just about common decency and the wishes of the dead. And like you rightly said, there's campaigns afoot to have Richard III returned to York, because that was his wishes. And there's also, you know, other campaigns happening. For instance, the Irish Giant, as he's called, who was held for medical research by their scientists. And they said, well, they wanted to look at his bones and work on it to find a possible cure for a genetic disease that he had. But there are people alive today with that disease. There's no need to display his skeletal remains in a cabinet, as they do. I mean, what chance, you know, in this nation have, you know, the poor and the oppressed, you know, and those who are really hard done by, if we can't even respect the wishes of the dead?
Yeah. And so we're actually looking at 4 years since they've actually been taken away from Stonehenge then. And what's the state of play at the moment? I believe it's Sheffield University are actually holding the remains. I mean, you know, who do you think is responsible?
Well, Sheffield University were holding the remains. We're not even sure that they haven't gone to UCL at London because the head archaeologist has transferred from one university to another. But the state of play at the moment is that originally they got a 2-year license to look at them, and then by law they should put them back. They applied for a 5-year extension, so someone could do a PhD on them, which will mean that they've had them 7 years. And the state of play is, at the moment, I'm applying basically to the judiciary for a judicial review, and I'm applying for a prohibition order to prohibit them from extending the license any further, because 7 years is more than enough to look at a few bits of burnt bone, and then we want them back. But the state of play will be that they will be applying for a variance to that order so they can put them in a museum. And we don't really want them in a museum. We want them to be reburied. You see, the strange thing about British law is that Christian remains are protected under law. Pre-Christian aren't. And the silly thing is, under British law, if you're building a road or a bypass or even, an extension to your patio or whatever, and you come across any human remains, and what will happen is a local archaeologist who works for the county will come out and look at them, and now he will decide on whether it's north-south or east-west orientation. That's all he looks at. And he will say, okay, if it's north-south, it's a Christian burial. If it's east-west, it's pre-Christian. And if it's pre-Christian, the law states, and this is how silly it is, that you should notify the next of kin where possible. And that's all the law says. So then you can throw them in a dustbin. They are not protected under British law if they are pre-Christian remains. And it's that law we are also fighting to change through Parliament.
Doesn't seem right at all, does it, really? I mean, you've done quite a lot. I mean, some people call you a bit of an eco-warrior because you've been involved in a lot of different campaigns, such as Twyford Down, Third Battle of Newbury, Manchester Airport, Birmingham, Crystal Palace. I'm reading these from a list because I don't think I could remember all these. I mean, you've been around, but what you're saying is about building roads and digging gardens up. I do believe you was actually here in Peterborough sometime. I mean, is there something where you've got it in the back of your mind that, that they are going to get returned, and then once they do, you're going to be moving on to other things? Are there anything else in the pipeline at the moment? I know number one priority at the moment is return of the remains, who obviously we're calling the guardians, the ancestors, which theoretically are they're our predecessors. I mean, is there anything else in the pipeline at the moment which is going on which could probably help the cause at all?
There are many things going on in the pipeline, and you rightly say I'm known as an eco warrior. Basically, I'm the leader of the Loyal Arthurian Warband, which is the political wing of the Druids, and we worship through nature. We don't worship nature. That's a mistake that a lot of people make. And so, from a Christian point of view, the argument would be that we're worshipping the creation rather than the creator. But that's not the case. I mean, we actually worship through nature. We see the divine and the infinite in everything. So we're close to nature. And so, obviously, some of the environmental campaigns, such as the ones you mentioned, where they reflect on the natural world and man's greed over the natural world. Well, as a political wing of the Druids, me and my order see it as our duty to stand and to fight and to protest by direct, non-violent action, rather taking a leaf out of Gandhi's book. And there are always campaigns, and there will always be new campaigns to move on, because unfortunately we live in a world where man's greed is so intense that he will do anything to rape and pillage this earth. And this earth to us is our goddess. We live here.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, well, I'm having a quick flick through here. I mean, the appliance of science and the internet. I've been looking up, and obviously I spoke to you a few days ago with regards to talking on the show here today. And in your words, you've actually classed this year as a bit of a media frenzy. We're kind of looking at a lot of publicity for the cause, and I don't know if you want to just go through obviously what you're doing and where you're going to be and where our listeners can actually see you on the box at all.
Yeah, I mean, we are getting a lot of publicity for the cause, and I am in particular. I've got a revised edition of the Trials of Arthur is now out.
Right.
The book that's just come out.
And where can we get hold of a copy of that?
A documentary about me going out on Discovery, going out to 161 different countries, I believe. There's another documentary that's gone into the Byron Bay Film Festival about me. I'll be appearing on Sky. I'll be appearing on ITV. And if your listeners want to check out the Alan Titchmarsh show on the 20th of March, which of course is the vernal equinox, they'll see me on there. So yes, we will be getting out there and getting the cause out to the public eye. And hopefully, sometime later this year, I will in fact get a judicial review and be appearing at the Royal Courts, trying to secure the return of the Guardians to Stonehenge.
Brilliant.
Above and beyond that, whatever comes up that we feel is in truth, in honour and in justice, we will fight for.
Yeah. And I do hear a little Dicky Bird told me that there was a knighting of Alex Reid. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, Alex Reid is in fact a druid and came down to support us on the picket at Stonehenge, and he was raised into my order as a brother knight, and that will be shown, I believe, on Sky later this year.
Oh, we'll have to keep an eye out for that. And also, I believe if you're travelling to Germany, and our listeners travelling to Germany, and they pick up a copy of the National Geographic magazine over the next few months, there's going to be something in there as well. There's going to be a bit of a story running of lots of pictures, and probably one of the ceremonies down at Stonehenge was that. Yes,
that's right. That also comes out this year. So, yeah,
busy.
To see me perhaps dubbed into German again.
And you were saying about the book, which is obviously I believe it's out now, The Trials of Arthur, the revised edition by C.J. Stone. I mean, whereabouts can our listeners get hold of a copy of that?
I think they can get hold of it through Amazon. But if they're ever passing Stonehenge, I'm usually there picketing and have a couple of copies. It's actually co-written by myself and C.J. Stone, who used to write Housing Benefit Hill for The Guardian.
Oh, right. So what you're saying about being on the picket down at Stonehenge, if by any chance our listeners are down there having a look at the sacred temple, they can pop over and come and say hello and sign the petition, yeah?
That's correct.
Brilliant, fantastic. Okie dokie. Right, well, King Arthur Pendragon, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Thank you very, very much. The pleasure is all mine, believe me. And hopefully we should get some feedback from this little chat we've had here. I do actually believe that the Respect the Dead e-petition, we've actually got a link to that, and we're going to put it on Facebook, and also another couple of bits and bobs. We've got a website up, cityhospitalradio.co.uk, so we're going to put a link on there for that as well. I would read it out at the moment, but it's a little bit long, but it is one of the e-petitions, and I believe people can just log on to that from the UK and sign the petition as well. Is that right?
That's correct.
Fantastic. Okay, right. Well, I'll get onto that as soon as my show finishes today, and probably get some photographs on there as well. Now, a little bird tells me that there's a certain track that you like, and what I thought was what an absolutely fantastic way to end this little chat of ours. I thought it might be nice if you actually introduce the tune for us, Arthur. Is that okay?
I most certainly will. In fact, I've got it as my ringtone on my telephone. And of course, it's the one and only Steppenwolf was born to be wild.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Arthur. We'll speak to you again soon. Greetings and blessings to you.
You too.